I finally actually built him and started using him. If you remember when the game was pretty new, we did a lot of summons, and I could not stop pulling Tree Twin. I pulled a bunch of copies of this dude. I think I've pulled 5 total, maybe 6 total now. I've pulled him several times, and I sorted through some gear on him and messed around with him a little bit and decided I wasn't really interested and moved on. Fed all the dupes for other summons, and the rest is history. But I recently decided I would give him another go. He just recently got a little bit of a buff, and I kind of wanted to actually give him a real shot at being used in my account. And he's become now one of my most used units in PvP when I deviate from my presets, right? I've got a couple of presets in Arena that I switch back and forth between, and Guild War I'm a little bit more creative. I don't use presets quite as often, but this guy, almost every time that I break up a preset or break up an idea for a team, he ends up in the team. He is so good. It's actually crazy how good this dude is. So I thought we would talk a little bit about how I've geared him, some things to keep in mind while you're gearing him, and then maybe go mess around with him in Arena a little bit and talk a little bit about why I'm doing what I'm doing with him specifically. So very quickly, we'll talk about his abilities. I might even skill him up at some point. I'm really getting a lot of mileage out of this dude now. But his A1 attacks an enemy. If it kills someone, it'll automatically cast his A2 on a random enemy, which is really nice. His damage scales on his attack and defense, which is important. We'll talk about that as we go through. His A2, that again gets cast if he gets a kill with his A1, is attacks an enemy, 2-turn defense down, damage based on the target's max HP. So he's got a good opportunity or good potential to hit bosses pretty hard. And then even bigger HP units in PvP, he can do pretty decent damage too with this. And you can get it down to a 2-turn cooldown with some pretty good damage amplifiers there. His passive is really where this gets out of hand. Steals 1 buff with each attack, which is very good, and absorb 25% of the opponent's current attack and defense, 5% against bosses, against boss enemies, up to 5 times. Their current attack and defense. If you use this effectively, you can very quickly negate the threats on the enemy team, because I have tested this, and absorb doesn't just mean add it to himself, it means remove it from them too, which is nutty. So for example, somebody like, you know, Water Dome Fighter, for example, who used to be very scary. You used to have to be really careful about how you dealt with her. He'll now solo her no problem, because every time he hits her, he's stealing defense from her, which means she's hitting softer and taking more damage. After a couple times of him focusing her, she might as well not exist anymore. He's going to delete her very quickly. It's the same thing for targets that are going to have high attack. If you can come in and steal a turn from a Bookworm team, for example, you steal 25% of his attack. If you can hit him before he hits you, he's probably not going to be able to kill you if you do that. So if you set him up in a situation where someone gives him turn meter or fills up his turn meter and gives him turn, you can very quickly take away a lot from the 25%'s a lot, up to 5 times. And then on top of that, if they're defense buffed or attack buffed, he steals it from them, making them a lot weaker. And then he gets so strong as a fight goes on. It's insane how hard I've seen this dude hit. So you have to be a little bit careful about how you use him. You have to. He needs some support. He can't. I mean, sometimes he can just go in and solo stuff, and depending on how you want to build him, he definitely could. If you had a really strong vamp set for him, for example, I think that would be kind of ridiculous. But yeah, I might skill this dude up at some point. Actually, I think he might be worth a skill up. I kind of wish I'd kept the copies of him now and given him the stacks. I think that would be pretty cool. But nevertheless, I've been using this dude a lot. He's very cool. On top of that, he's got a good arena lead for accuracy, which is nice. So there are a lot of different ways you can go with this guy. There are a lot of opportunities to build this dude in creative ways, because he fits into so much. He fits into so much. He scales on attack and defense. So I like the bruiser idea. I like pairing him with a bruiser. and letting him ramp himself up as the fight goes on. So what I've done with him, I put him in Zeal because I think Zeal is pretty important. I don't want him to get stunned first turn if I don't go first or anything like that. I've put him in Counter because I think Counter can be pretty handy. And again, if we end up in a situation, which will happen more frequently than you think, where someone hits him, he counterattacks, kills them with the A1, then he just procs the A2 on someone randomly. So that will happen on a counterattack too, which is really nice. And then I put him in Corrupt. I think it's important, especially in Guild War, especially in the current meta, what is seeming like the current meta anyway. It is important to have some good Corrupt sets spread across the units that you want to use in PvP, because I'm sure we've all seen it. The Water Robo lead with the Fire Nurse, and it's in no way designed to kill you. It's strictly designed to not be killed. So it's super high resistance, super high HP, and the idea is just to stall you out. You can't resist Corrupt. You can't resist having your max HP reduced. So it gets that much easier to kill these enemies. Even if it's a Fire Nurse and he's not likely to crit her and do a bunch of damage, he will chip away at her max HP over time. And as long as you have a little bit of support, she's not going to kill him. You know what I mean? So it really minimizes the chances that you're going to wind up in a situation where you can't kill an enemy team. As long as they can't kill you, you're eventually going to get that kill. You know what I mean? Even if it's a Fire Nurse, he'll chip her down eventually to the point where if he lands a good crit, especially with all the attack and defense he's absorbed from everybody, again, also, especially if it's from her, just makes her that much easier to kill. So it's really nice. I think he's a really, really good candidate for a Corrupt set. And I think there's just a lot of opportunities. Corrupt Lifesteal, I think, would be cool. I like the Revenge idea. You could load them up on more Corrupt if you've got better pieces for it. I think that there are a lot of really cool opportunities. Bash is never a bad idea on anybody. You know what I mean? Echo could be disgusting on him. You really can't go wrong. Shock, Ambush. the list goes on and on. I think that's one of the things that makes him such a cool unit, is that you really are wide open in ways that you can build him, and you're kind of wide open in units you can go after with him, because there are a lot of units. Let's talk about mine specifically being on Corrupt. I'm not worried about bears anymore because I'm going to chip away at their max HP. They're going to do less and less damage as the fight goes on. I'm not worried about monks because if they're built on a high HP, I'm going to chip that away. If they're built on super high defense, I'm going to steal it and make myself that much harder to kill. Super high attack units, like bomb units, he's on Zeal. I can come in, smack one of the bomb units once, take away a bunch of their attack, kind of remove the threat of the bomb. He counters a lot of stuff. He's very, very cool. And again, I'm having more fun with him than most of the stuff in my account right now. I'm getting a lot of mileage out of her as well. She's been a lot of fun. Sometimes I use them together, but yeah, I'm getting a lot of mileage out of this guy. Really, really cool. So as far as the stats to focus on him, you can see I didn't really prioritize accuracy. Accuracy could be very important on him depending on how you want to use him. This buff steal every time he hits somebody is substantial. That matters. So it's not a bad idea to focus accuracy on him depending on how you want to do with him. He does also have a defense down on the A2 that would be nice for him to land. I am not focusing it. I wanted to focus more on his other stats, his ability to do damage and survive. So we're sort of on a little bit of a hybrid type build here. I have a little bit of HP on him. I have a decent amount of attack on him, a decent amount of defense on him, a decent amount of speed, and then the crit stats are fine. He's kind of like fine across the board. Nothing really stands out as being insane here. And the idea was, he's not going to snipe anybody at the beginning of the fight, but that's not what I'm taking him in to do. I'm taking him in to minimize specific threats and make himself stronger as the fight goes on. So I use him a lot against dome fighters, against bears, against fire nurse, against mercenary mothers, against these units that tend to try to stall, right? The robots, that type of stuff. So I just want to make sure he's not super squishy at the beginning of the fight. Some people like to load defense and not worry about anything else. My issue is that there are a lot of units that ignore defense, and I want to try him on defense as well. Am I running him on defense currently? Actually, I'm not running him on I have run him a little bit on defense, but so when I was running him on defense, that's why I didn't go pure defensive stat, because I didn't want him to just be so easy to snipe. If someone's ignoring defense, they're probably going to snipe him anyway, but that's something you can play around with. This is the build I've gone with that kind of works for me. This is what I've enjoyed the most. I've tried a few different things with him. So let's jump into Arena and find something that we can kind of show him off against. I think this might be a good one. This might be a good one. This would be an example of one where I would just take out my fire bear and put him in, probably. And so she's gonna have a lot of HP, but her passive works with her defense. So if I hit her a couple times with him, I have to assume that they've loaded up defense on her. He's gonna steal a bunch of defense, which is gonna make him stronger, it's gonna make her weaker, and it's gonna make her passive less effective. Now, I am a little wind heavy against a fire bear, but I also have a bookworm, and I have her, so I can try to control a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. We'll see how it goes. I kind of want you to just kind of get the idea of what we're working with him. All right, so let's stun you, or taunt you rather. We'll add some foresight. And then I don't want to defense break her because I want him to steal more defense from her. So I'm going to go after him. He's probably going to cleanse it anyway, but whatever. And then now I'll just hit her. Whether I glance, it's not based on my damage. It's just the fact that I touched her. That's it. That's what makes it such a crazy passive is you don't need accuracy for it. It doesn't matter if you glance. None of that matters. Again, I don't want to defense break her, so I'm just going to hit someone else. We're going to do that. It'll be annoying if he dies, but not the end of the world. Let's get rid of some of these nullifies. And it might end up being kind of a long fight, but again, this team is not really designed to do things quickly. It's designed to do it consistently over time. And you see we're taking care of her max HP as well. So now we've hit her a couple times. We've reduced her defense. He's at 5 stacks, so now I can just start going after whoever. So now I probably want to start focusing him and getting the bookworm out of here. Eventually, or occasionally, I should say, rather, we'll get some nice counterattacks. So again, might take us a little while. Did I? Oh, I stole the taunt, which is pretty nice. Can we kill him real quick? So bookworm's gone. Let's focus let's focus her actually. Get rid of the taunt and stuff. And then again, even though we're wind damage dealers, I don't think Wind Fire Bear's gonna kill us. Even if he does, we've got the bookworm here to sort of protect us. And now he'll just chip away at his max HP over the course of the fight. Which maybe won't take effect until his turn. Maybe all that didn't take effect. Well, we ended up killing him anyway. But you see what I'm saying, right? You pick your targets. Excuse me. Defenses that like have a defense lead are really nice, or an attack lead, or units that you know are going to have a lot of defense. Fire Iron Fist, for example, tends to get built with some defense. You could go in and steal some defense from her. It's a good example. Here's another example of a team where like There's no threat here. All they're trying to do is stall. So I just bring him in, and it would I could take him in and hit auto, and it would last a while. It would take them a while, but he will eventually kill them. He will eventually win this fight. I'll do it just to prove a point. I won't make you watch the whole thing, but I'll cut back after the fight's over. I'm just gonna go in and leave it on auto. I'm not gonna touch anything. I'll come back when the fight's over, okay? All right, that actually didn't take as long as I thought it might. I thought it was going to take a little bit longer to kill that team, but you get the idea, right? Doesn't matter if they have resistance. None of that crap matters because we've got a little bit of corrupt and a unit that's going to be really hard to kill. So we would sustain him. Just give him some support. I really like him with Fire Nurse. I use him with Fire Nurse a lot in Guild War, and then somebody else depending on. I like her because she gives him a good attack lead for guild battles, especially. So he goes in with boosted attack, and then again I get to pick and choose my targets on who I want to absorb from, and I just pick whoever's going to give me the most the quickest. So units that I know are loaded up on attack or that I know are loaded up on defense, and generally whoever is the bigger threat, I just go in and start stealing their stats away so that they become less of a threat. If you hit a tree electro 2 or 3 times, he's never going to kill anybody with that bomb. You just took too much of his attack away. You know what I mean? So the big thing about building a team around him is make sure you've got somebody that can keep him alive. And if you've got a reviver, like a light bookworm or something, in case things go south and he happens to get sniped, even better, right? Just give him some support and throw him on a little bit of a corrupt set if you kind of want to do what I'm doing here with him, and let him do his thing. He's really fun, really, really fun. I'm shocked at how much fun I've been having with this guy since I finally decided to build him. So maybe we'll pull some more dupes soon, and I can give him some stacks or something. But anyway, that's it for the Tree Twinblade showcase. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any other units that you see in my roster that you'd like to specifically see a video on. And yeah, that's it. We'll be back soon with some more stuff. Have a good one, guys.